Yes. And about speaker, he is Umesh Pandit. He's recently awarded the LinkedIn Top Voice for ERP. Congratulations, Umesh, on that. And he's advisor, solution architect, and his focus area on Microsoft Cloud Technologies, Power Platform, and business applications. Core understanding of 365 and Azure. He is also a Microsoft certified trainer. He's holding 61 plus certifications in various technologies. Certified architect in F&O, Azure, and Power Platform. He can be reached over the email and LinkedIn and Twitter like this. Over to you, Ramesh. Over to you, Umesh.
Thank you, Venkatesh. So we'll get started.
Yes,
I don't have
please.
any formal PPTs to run through. I have direct. We will jump into the direct environment and see how we can leverage it. Okay, sharing
Sure.
my screen. Hope it is visible.
Yes, Umesh, we can see.
Thank you. So thank
Yes.
you very much. Thank you very much for joining from all over the world. First of all, it's a great pleasure. Today is the weekend, and thank you everyone again, once again, for joining in the weekend. So we'll get started with management of environment management, basically. Okay. So as we know, LCS might like it's a news across just an general availability from Microsoft that LCS may be gone through, and then everything will be move around the Power Platform. Well, that might take around 6 to 12 months for the partners and the customers to move ahead. But in case you are still on the LCS, this is the good time to explore. And in case you are new, like you are moving from 2012 to finance and operation, this is again a great view of the LCS or the understanding of the LCS, how you can manage your environment, what is cloud hosted environment, what is T1, what is T2, maybe T3, T4, T5 people are hearing, but they may not understand if they are coming in from 2012 background. Okay, so we'll get started. Normally, when you want to go to the LCS, generally you go to lcs.dynamics.com, and this is the version 2. Version 1 is again a lower version. I can show that probably, but let's focus on this today. Normally, all the projects which has been created across the company will be listed here. Okay, and the project, what you can do if you want to create a project, you can create like this. Okay, whether it is an implementation project for finance and operation or commerce or a Navision. We have 2012 as well for the lower versions. Those who are migrating from 2012 to finance and operation, they can also see the LCS like this. Let's make this session very informative and interactive. In case you have any doubt, please stop me. We will not have the question answer session at the end. Definitely we can leverage that. But in case you have any question, please do ask, unmute yourself and do ask. That will be welcomed across. So generally, to create a project, what you can do, you can click on the finance and operation. Let's suppose this is our implementation project. You can go ahead and click on the implementation project based on the name. Normally, people make this as their own internal ERP or maybe product specific ERP. They can name it, put the description, what it is. I have seen that people create generally the general companies creating one implementation project, obviously because they have the licenses. The bare minimum licenses requirement for a implementation project is 20 licenses. You should be purchasing 20 licenses from any Microsoft partner. Then only you should get an access to the LCS. I think there is a recent change that Microsoft has started blocking LCS for the personal IDs. Earlier it was allowed, but nowadays it has been not allowed, and it has been only allowed for your corporate IDs. Okay. Um, so you can get the description, name, and then on the project custom type, you can select it as in finance and operation. For me, it is just because we have not taken on an licenses any on the Dynamics 365 user group India. So we are just looking for the, we can only see what is the project custom type is human resource migration. So that's how you create it. There is a complete video for project onboarding. Okay, so this is the project onboarding. I will try to give you as much as information on the project onboarding, but the core area for this is the environment manager. Okay, so management. So let's go ahead and understand about the environment management. Generally, when it is an implementation project, we should be aware that how much we should be pre-planning that how much environments will be needed for our development, how much environment should be needed for maybe sandbox like in testing UAT or maybe stress testing, and then for the production, obviously you should have one production. Bare minimum one production should be there for 20 licenses. Okay, so all the environments when you are in the project, once you are in the project, you can click here. Let's suppose we have chosen this project. Okay, and the all the environments by default will be listed here. So right now it is showing you no environment, but generally if it is an implementation project, by default you get um, um, two licenses. Generally you get give me a minute. You will get the finance and you will get the production. Okay, so you will have production and then you have a sandbox. Now this sandbox, generally people name it. So let's suppose we have Dynamics user group Middle East. So let's suppose we have Dynamics 365 user group ME, and then we make this as UAT. And then for the production, maybe we can name this as environment as uh, like this, make it as prod. Okay, so general tendency for all the companies, generally they keep it like this, like in company name or the product name, and then followed by which type of environment it is. Similarly, when we are creating a T1 or T2, so these are generally sandbox are T2 named as T2 environment, and the T1 environment are the lower most environment, which is called T1. And generally this name can be this is generally notated as development environment. While we create T1 as development environment, T1 can also be created as a build server, and also T1 can also be created as a demo server. Now there are differences between these three topologies. In fact, all these five topologies are very different. We can come to that point. We will come to this point soon. Development environments are basically used for your development purposes. Okay, so it is one developer should have one box. Okay, let's suppose the company is having four developers. Okay, and if or maybe three developers, and if they are in different shifts, they can use same like 8 hours per day, 8 hours they can use, and then VM will be on 24 hours. Well, that depends if they have configured their workspace, development workspace, as many of you know that whenever we create a project for a environment, we create a workspace where we map our workspace and make it a private one. If you're making it as a private one, it will be cumbersome because it will not be shared across the multiple people. So what you can do in case this is being used by multiple developers, then you can make it as a shared or a public project. Basically, it's a shared project, and then you can get it maybe three or four developers to work on different, but the same time they cannot work, but they can work in shifts. Okay, then generally once you create your code, you put it in your um, check in the code, basically check in the code in Azure DevOps. Okay, now this DevOps can be on the branch of development branch, dev branch. Okay, dev branch. And similarly, once this has been created in the dev branch, and then you can start the merging into the build box. Generally, people ask that why we create a build box. You can either use a complete dev build box, or generally if you talk about a Microsoft partner company, they will not recommend to use the build box. Even personal view, me also, I will also not recommend to use the build box. What you can do at that time for doing the merging purposes of the environment, you can create one more T1 and name this as dev lead. Okay, Most of you are now working as dev lead, so they may understand, they may relate like this. Okay, so you can create a box like dev lead, and then over here you will make it as a merging purposes. Okay, merge purposes, and then the demo is in higher specs of the virtual machine. Okay, so let's suppose for the demo version we generally keep this as DS13 or DS12, or maybe B4, in fact B8 ms. Okay, so this will have a higher specs. Demo means it will have the complete prerequisites installed for a customer demo in place. Okay, so any doubt until here? Okay, so we'll move forward. Now, while we are still at a implementation phase, okay, so this is the implementation phase which we are discussing. We have one production, one T2, and we have a development box, one build box, one tier one lead box, and one is our demo environment. It might be a case that since we are having one more developer, so you can keep this replicated like this. But once the project goes into the um, support. Okay, so before that, we will definitely follow our cutoff dates. Cutoff dates. Okay, cutoff date, or maybe you want to switch from older ERP to newer ERP, or maybe from AX 2012 to finance and operations. So you will have a cutoff date. Once cutoff date is done, you will go for a go live. Once you are done with the go live, what happens is the complete project goes to the support ecosystem. Now, how does this support ecosystem work? Now, so since this topic is more towards how you can manage your environments, so definitely when it is a support, this much environments are not needed. So what we can do, we will just say paste it, and then this UAT may be deleted and recreated with the pre-prod name, or maybe prod copy. Okay, generally this, or you can make this as a prod copy. Okay, so that's the terminology most of the companies are using. So make it as a prod copy. Okay, now uh, while we were here, we will also have one T1 box which will be called as, which will be having a, this all will have demo database. Demo database. So those who are new to Dynamics, they may understand what demo database is, and those who are old also, they will also understand what demo databases are. So this will have the demo database. Now with the build, people, different technical people have different approach on the build environment. They may, I would just make sure that you're understanding, we may have the demo database, or we can have blank. Different companies, different technical leads think in different way, so that the performance is not impacted. They may make it a blank database. Okay, but also the general recommendation from my end, since with my experience, I would say definitely blank is a good one. Uh, okay, so the other environment which we missed is, anyone have noted down that which environment we missed? So we will make this as um, golden config. Okay, golden, that's the favorite for functional people. So whatever configuration they do, okay, let's suppose they want to set up their master data, they want to do their uh, 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 maybe they are creating some uh, uh, filling up the data, they are working on the FDD they want to create. So all this, whatever configuration related, not the data only the configuration related stuff will come to the T1, which is again a golden configuration. Now, while this is a golden configuration, what we do is we create it as a blank environment. Okay, so the demo environments will, the development environments will have demo database, The golden config will have the blank database because we need to create legal entities on top of it. We will configure the company, what is their GST number, what is their address, what is their location, all those stuffs will be captured here. So that's the reason it is called, it will be on blank side. Then we have the build database, which I have already explained. On the dev lead, that's your wish whether you can. Since people do merging and merging over there, so they may go for a demo or a blank database. Again, this depends upon the performance, whether they want to go with a blank. Generally, I have seen people going and selecting blank. And then we have the demo environment. So demo environment can be completely skipped. This demo environment is also called, they make this as a implementation company may have this environment created as a standard understanding, so that whatever configurations the technical the functional people do, they can, in case they have any doubt in, let's suppose they are for the standard processes they have some issues, so they can have this demo environment. Generally, this is also called the well in a box. Okay, so it will have just a demo database, and then it can be referenced in any case there is an issue with the code, because obviously development environments will be doing, you will be doing merging this code to the dev lead, and dev lead, from there you will be deploying that code to the UAT. Okay, so UAT will contain what we do with the UAT. UAT will contain, again, it will be a blank database, but the data will be copied. Data will be copied from golden config. Okay, so this data will be copied. The configuration copied will be from the golden config, plus it will have the merged code. Whatever code base we deploy here. Okay, so basically when we talk about the data will the database will flow from, in implementation, remember it's an implementation, so data will flow from golden config to higher environments. Okay, but in support case it goes downward, the arrow for the data goes downward. So whatever production database we have will copy to production copy, and then it will be replicated to our dev boxes. Okay, okay, so I think this is not confusing. Anyone have any question till now here? Yes, no, maybe. Okay, so we'll move
It's good.
forward. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move forward. Um, okay, what happens with the, yeah, go ahead with the Vijay is having the question. Vijay Karthik.
No, no, I wrongly pressed. It's okay.
Okay,
It's going good. Yeah.
okay, cool. Once we are done with the go live, what we can do is I told you that data will be flowing downwards. Okay, so we copy from the production environment to the sandbox, which will be named as prod copy to troubleshoot, or maybe we want to we want to deploy any code or changes, whatever hotfix we do it on the T2 environment. When it is done, we migrate that code to production. You may also have one more kind of environment here, which is again a T1. We will not have the T2. We can have this. Okay, just a informational basis. People may also look for the migration. Okay, so migration box. So that's called migration box, and this will have, again, this will have data from the legacy ERP, data from ERP, or maybe they can have data from AX2012. Okay, so this time, if migration is also involved, then the golden config will be there. Okay, so this golden config, we will make sure that this golden config is having the data. This golden config is on the top of the migration box, and all these versions on the migration box, the UAT and the yeah, and the golden config are in same version. Okay, we have to make sure that they are on the same version. Otherwise, we may face a lot of challenges while we do onto the migration. So again, this box will be differently. And if you can see, the number of boxes are increasing based on the implementation project. So if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 boxes we have created. Okay. Um, or maybe 8, you can consider 8. Now, when it comes to the management, what happens? The cost is already has gone up. To reduce the cost in the future, what we do is we generally the development may go off, but it depends on the if let's suppose your your whatever go live which you are planning, it has not been completed, or maybe it has been done, but you want to have rollout from legal entity to legal entity. Maybe you are having a phased wide legal entity go live go live. So that will depend. And once this is if the if the go live is successful and the number of developers are reduced, you can just delete them. Okay, so delete it. Definitely at that time you will require a build box, and then you have the delete definitely, and then demo will people may delete this and people may recreate depending upon which version they are looking for. So let's suppose the environment, the implementation is started with 32, that 10.0.0.32, and then later on it migrated to like 10.0.35. So it depends upon that on which implementation got started, and then later on the support you are increasing number of versions, because Microsoft is also releasing a lot of versions so that you are up to the market. Okay, so that depends. Then this may be required to keep, or it might be deleted and then recreated based on the demand. Okay, where when the functional people require, you can create it. Otherwise, you can kept it deleted so that you save cost on the environment side. Okay, so any question till now?
Yes,
Okay,
Umesh, right.
mhm.
I have one question.
Sure, go
So
ahead with the issue.
the migration box should be T1, right? And we can have storage constraints with the T1 environments. Say if we are migrating data from legacy environment, usually they are master data, opening balances, and open transactions, right?
Correct.
If the volume is high, this T1 box will create problems, right? We will
Um,
have constraints on T1.
Yes, so there are constraints. What you can do is, like this question is being asked by multiple people. What I tell them that, see, uh, I would say the people who are coming from legacy AX 2012, they may not have greater insights on the Azure. So what I guide them is, generally, if you see on the T1 side, the OS is 128 GB by default, or maybe it is 127 to be very precise in GB. Now, people think that this cannot be increased. Yes, this can be increased. Okay, I will show you in some time. Similarly, let's suppose since it is a T1 box, you have created maybe 1 TB of the 1 TB of the system, while you have created 1 TB of the drives. Maybe you have created 2, 3, 4, 5, and it will be distributed. But again, in case there is a data constraint, what you can do, you can add one more disk to it. Okay, so I may be showing. Are you aware, or should I show you?
Yes, yes, I understood. I understood, Ramesh. Yeah. So this
Correct.
configuration is a little bit higher than the usual development boxes, right?
I would say make it on the lower side should be fine. But later on, what you can do, you can just increase the boxes. Okay, so I'll just show you. It's taking some time. Okay, no problem. Yeah, so either you go with the higher specs. This is one approach. The other is again you make changes. Okay, so whatever specs you change, the OS disk will not get increased. This is by default. So in case you want to increase, what you can do, you can go to the VM. So let's suppose this is the VM which I have created for my demo. What happens is if you go to the disk, okay, right now the VM is just having one particular disk which is having 127. So what you can do over here is just select the disk, okay, and look for size and performance. Okay, so once you look for size and performance, um, now it will show you that what by default you have 128. So if you can see, it can go up to this much of size. Okay, almost 3 terabyte you can go, 32 terabyte maybe. Yeah, 1 terabyte is this, so it is increasing. So around good amount of disk can be increased. So this is only C drive. Now, in case you want to add an extra disk, not the C drive, you want to, because it's a since you will be creating the T1, it is having a pre-installed SQL version. So SQL version will means the installation files on the C drive will be different. Data will sit on different drive, E drive, and then tempdb will sit on F drive. All those configurations will happen. So what you can do in case it is required, you can come here and attach the disk. Now, if you see, it is showing you just 4 GB. So you can go up to 1 terabyte over here, and then you can create it, and then it will be automatically attached. So once you power on the VM, you just either extend the disk. This is again a disk management property where you can actually extend the existing disk, or you can break the data and then switch all the data to this particular drive. So that is also possible. So mix and match is possible in Azure, so it should be fine. Okay, so any more questions over here?
Thank you, Umesh.
Yep, welcome. Okay, so yeah, so this is how you actually manage it. And in case for the environments, what I have seen is people also see that they have already created a VM. Now, due to performance, maybe you have created a smaller size. So if you see here, this machine is on the standard B2MS or B2S machine. Now, developer complains that, hey Umesh, the performance is very low. Would you do anything for that? So at that time, what we do is we see the configuration, we see what's the performance of the system. So we go to the overview, okay, and go to this virtual machine and look for the monitoring and see what is happening. Okay, if the average CPU is getting always 100% or maybe 90%, or and the disk IOs are also increasing. So you can think that yes, the VM is overutilized or it has been utilized heavily. So at that time, what you can do, you don't have to delete and recreate it. Remember, what you can do, you can go to the size. Okay, so whatever size it has, it will be showing on the top. The current size is standard B2S. What you can do, you can go to the same series and look for the higher aspects. So let's suppose this is one which you are looking for, or maybe 16 one, which will give you around 32 GB of RAM, or generally I would say this one. So go with and then resize it. Okay, so resizing will not lose any of your data. The only thing will happen is a restart will happen for 1 or 2 seconds, and then your system will be up and running. So in case it is a customer owned or customer is on working on that, you please take a downtime of at least 15 to 30 minutes. Okay. Okay, any more questions now on the Azure side, in case, since I have already opened this page, so in case you have any virtual machines related, this is cloud hosted environment. So you definitely have to deal with Azure. No? Okay, so we'll move forward. Okay, so the other question which I normally see, that they look for their project settings. Okay, so in the project settings, okay, they want to have the Azure connector setup. So since now we have already set up the connection. Now, what I have seen is, I will just try to explain this as a more. Now, what happens is, let's suppose the customer is from US, okay, or he's from Europe, or he's from AUS, Australia. What happens is, you will see a particular zone which is already tagged. Okay, so this, if you see, this is the Australia Southeast region, which we have already tagged. Now, since you will be connecting from India, because on a cheaper cost of the maybe outsourcing of the project, the companies may support from India. Now from India to US, if you RDP, maybe there is a latency issue, or from Europe or maybe AUS, definitely it will have. So to mitigate that, what is general practice is you have to just add one more subscription. Okay. Now, if the customer is already having one subscription, they will ask why to add one more. Yeah, so definitely the word adding subscription, you just add the same subscription, but the region you select it on a different point. So what I will just show you. Okay, so let's suppose I have my subscription here. Look for the subscription ID, copy paste it here. Okay, and then the name you can make it. Let's suppose it is for India, so you can say data center, or maybe just India, or dev India maybe. Okay. ANDIA. Okay, and you just say yes, go next. Yep, so this is already, I have already given this contributor role. You might be aware there are a lot of videos and tutorials around it, so I need not to explain. But in case you have an issue, just reach out to me. And then go next. Generally, you can get the code set up if there is a authorization issue. And this particular the management certificate has been deprecated. This is already set up, so go and click next. Now this will tell you that which region you want. Okay, so let's suppose you want India, so just go down and select. Even so most of the companies, since they have their offices in South India, you can again bifurcate whether you want to host it on the South India, or you want to use it in a different India continent, West India, or maybe I think it is also we are having in Central India. Okay, yeah, Central India. Okay, so this is basically Central is your north. Let's suppose we are the companies from South India. Just click here and then connect. So this way, while you trigger a environment, you have an option to deploy the virtual machine based on your nearest data center. Okay, so this will actually again increase your it will decrease your latency and increase the developers performance and the developers understanding that how this is being enhanced, the performance of the development as well as individual developer as well, the efficiency will increase. Okay, so let it get added, then I will try to show you while you create the environment how it goes. Yeah, go ahead with the question. Now this is not defaulted. In case you want to default it, you can make sure you select and make it default.
Okay, Umesh, so I have a question regarding the Azure connector. Okay, so once we create a Azure connector, what would it impact on our Azure subscription? Because recently I have encountered an issue on one of our clients. It is a new client. So once I go to deploy the Azure connector, it gives me an error that there is some kind of policy on your subscription which is preventing this Azure connector to be deployed. So I just curious that what is the impact of that Azure connector on Azure side.
Yeah, that's true. So policy, that's Azure policy. So I will just give you a little bit of Azure policy, what it is. This is the common question which I see, or just type in policy, you will get it. Yeah. So these policies are the basically comes under the compliance. Now what happens? There are a lot of understanding which I have seen over the year. So let's suppose I'm from India partner company, and my customer is from US, or maybe he's from Australia region, or maybe EU, the European countries. Now, what happens is due to data retention, what they do is, let's suppose I'm going ahead and creating the resources. So let's suppose over here, if I come here, if I go to the duplicate this. Okay, so let me show it here. Okay, so let me, if I'm here and trying to create a resource. Okay, so whether I create it from here or from the LCS, I may be in a tendency that I'm creating a resource. Maybe let's suppose I'm creating a VM and I create it on the region, a wrong region. Now my customer is from Europe and I'm creating the resources in India or maybe in US. So what happens? The data, first of all, data compliance will happen. The second is that there will be the governance compliance also. Governance and compliance basically both are similar words. But when you have a policy enforced, okay, policy enforcement means while we write the policy. So while we write the policy in the scope, right now there is no policy, but we can do we can come here and create a definition and give the assignments. While we do all these setups, this will make sure that you are creating a particular resource in a particular region only. You're not authorized to create the resource in any other region. So one is this. The second thing is the tags. If you have a tagging enforced, again, while you create it from the LCS, it will have an error that there is a policy which is not. This is a policy enforced which is asking you not, you cannot create a resource. So at that time, the administrator of that particular company will try to disable the policy that particular time, maybe 8 hours, 10 hours, because a normal deployment will take around 10 to 8 hours. So that time they will disable it, and then they will send back you a mail that yes, it has been disabled. Please go ahead and create the resources. That's what your question answer is. Like, to your question, that's the answer. You need to ask the customer to disable those policies. Make sense?
Yeah, got it. So the Azure connector which we have just deployed from LCS, so it has created some resource group on Azure side.
Correct. It will create.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, so if you come here and look for the resources, this is the resources which just got deployed here. So right now my subscription is on the Azure Dev Test. Okay, and if you see, there is a storage account. Now this is also in complex understanding when I see a lot of people asking this question that we have not deployed anything, but still we are getting bill. So this is the question. This is the answer why you get the bill. While you uh, do a connector, it creates a storage account. Okay, so since you don't want to get the bill, you come here and delete it. Okay. The other option when we talked about yeah, thank you, Rachit, no problem. So let's suppose you want to get the remember we talked about the tagging policy. So what you can do, you can come here once the deployment is completed, you just tag it with the project. So you can say project maybe 1, 3, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the scope, you can make it as the customer name. Okay, so whatever customer name you have, you can make it. Okay, so let's suppose my customer is Google or Microsoft. You just put in and then tag it across to it. Okay. Okay, so we'll move back to our project settings. So this is something which I wanted to give you the understanding. In case it is not deleted, I can come here and also delete it. Now, while I'm deleting the, make sure that this has been also getting, this is getting also deleted. If it is not, the billing will still be initiated and you will get the billing out of it. Okay, now there is a common understanding on what organization, what customer, why there is an authorized button. Okay, so while you have generally this is for the ownership. Okay, so if you go here and look for the organization and the ownership, this is now owned by Dynamics User Group India. And let's suppose a big company, partner company is trying to implement us. So what they will do, they will what first step is to invite the particular user or the administrator of that particular organization, maybe functional or technical, come here and then try to get the project user. Okay, invite them as your customer, as your user. So let's suppose I have Venkat at the rate Dynamics. I know it might be a wrong user ID, but don't worry, just giving you a demo. So let's suppose this is my Venkat who is trying to get this access. So what you can do, you can go get the project security role and make them a project owner. So while he is an owner, he should be able to get the invite, and once the invite is received, and in case you want to change the ownership, so if you see here, the right now ownership is Dynamics 365 User Group India, and if once this is invited, what I can do, I can go to the project settings, So he has to log in from his ID, go to the project settings, and then once he has accepted it, it will have a one more line of the company who is working on the project. Generally, you may see one or maybe you will be seeing two or three. So let's suppose earlier some company worked, and then later on is some company implemented, some company is supporting them. So you will see list growing, increasing. Okay, so what you can do, you can come here and take on ownership. If that ownership relies with you, you can get the ownership like this. Okay, that time once the ownership is with you, over here, what is the change? What happen is, if let's suppose this is ME, this project will change from Dynamics 365 User Group India to ME. Okay, so that's the change which will happen. Okay, we'll move forward. The other common question which I have faced is about the creation. Okay, so what changes we'll have? So let's suppose we are creating the environment. On the topology side, I have seen a lot of questions while we manage the environment, that people used to mistakenly create a build environment for the developer box, or maybe create a demo environment for the development box. To make you understand, what happens is you need to select the latest application version. Okay, so this also very important to be learned while you create the environment. So let's suppose while you started the project, the first version was 10.0.35. Okay, now second version you created 36. Third version, so third demo you created the development environment created different version. So should not be like that. Always remember that the development environment should be in the same version while it is equivalent to other development boxes. Okay, because the build will again be changed. Okay, so we'll come to this later on. So once this is done, you go next. Now that's the topology which I wanted to discuss. So people get confused on demo and the dev test. Okay, so remember, the demo is basically for demonstration purposes. Generally, partner create this for the development for the demo purposes. In case there is a small customization which a company wants to do, still demo environment will work. So don't worry that for a demo purpose, you may have a development box separately and a dev test separately. No, on the same box you can do still, but the cost of demo is higher than the development dev test boxes. Okay, so just make sure that you are understanding. So this is demo, and let's suppose we go with the dev test. Generally, dev test topology is basically for development, test, and build. So let's suppose you choose this. Now it will ask you whether you want to go with the development, whether you want to go with the build, or you want to go with a development box. Build is again, you will have to have an agent. Okay, so this topology understanding is very different. I'll just show you quickly. I'm sure most of you have already done it, but just wanted to make sure that, because that's the purpose of our session today. So if you see, there is a build agent. So whenever you see a build agent asking a build agent name, you can think that, oh, you might have selected a wrong topology. Okay, so go back, cancel this, go back, and then try to create a demo. Try to create a demo in case it is a demo box or development box as per your need. So they again, the prerequisites for this is you need to create a agent pool before you come here and do it. Do not make it a default one. Okay, always name it. Okay, so what I generally do is, so let's suppose I'm creating a build box here. So I will make this create a agent like. Okay, just a recommendation, and I will make this as agent like 10, like a 10.0.36. Okay, you may have two boxes. That is also possible. Okay, you may have a lower version, so you can have two build boxes. Okay, so obviously this may be confusing for a lot of you, but generally this also implies it. So in case you want to talk about more, or you want to ask any question outside the session, I'm available. We can discuss that as well. Any question till now here?
No.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So now, and then the branch name. This may be skipped. Agent name can be skipped, but this is something which has to be defaulted. Okay, so you should be creating it before the deployment. Now, well, there are other setups like manage disk. People ask this question also. So manage disk. So you can, this is standard LRS is basically is basically the locally redundant servers or the services. What you can do, you can make it a none, or you can go for a premium. Generally, to save the cost, I recommend to use none. Okay, that's the one thing which I wanted to tell you. And then the virtual machine name. So it is very important. So while you are here, okay, so I'll just say done. Generally, let's suppose I'm creating a VM on in dev boxes. So let's suppose maybe a build box. So I'll just say build, maybe old, or maybe if you are in version, so you make sure that you are having a version out of it. Okay, like this you can make it. Or in case you have your project name ID, maybe it is Microsoft, you can just make it MS build 36V. Yeah, Soumya, please go ahead with the question.
Hi, Umesh. So how is that we are managing this load balancing while creating these environments and all?
Load balancing. This is a cloud hosted environment, so load balancing does not come into this picture right now.
Okay.
But if it is a pure virtual machine which you are creating from Azure, yes, definitely you can create a load balancer before the virtual machines. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's answer your question, or you want to discuss more?
Maybe after some time I'll message you privately on this.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So you can, we were on the environment name. So make sure that this environment name relies same as the virtual machine name. So what you can do, you can just make it this. What is the difference between them? The virtual machine name will be like this. The name in the Azure side will consist like this. It will be, because it is preceded by the specific number start. Okay, so if you see, this is the start index, so it will have -1, and in the environment name it will just display this one. So you will be able to correlate that this is the environment name and this is the virtual machine name. Okay, so if you don't name it, it will just say it will pick up a random box number, which is again very weird for an Azure people to manage that which virtual machine it is, what is the virtual machine it is referring to. Okay, and then once he or she figure it out, they can tag it later on. Okay, so this particular virtual machine is for this particular box. So basically environment management get very easy if you generally name that machine, have the customization of the machine. Similarly, there is a lot of understanding on the custom virtual network. People don't do it, but I would say yes, you can do it with the help of the virtual network. What you can do, if my VM is already which has been deployed, I want to make sure that they are on the same VNet. We can go ahead and look for the VNet over here. Right now, if you see, there is no lookup coming because there is no virtual machine which has been deployed. If I have deployed a virtual machine here, I will get the VNet name here. Okay, so this is an point where the customer has customized his network to be in the same VNet. Okay, so again, this is again whole through, it is all a Azure concept. You may not take pain to understand it, but it is general understanding. You can just think it over that yes, they can be deployed in same VNet. They can be, so you can have a customized virtual network as well. Okay, just keep in mind, because you may go up in the ladder as a technical lead, you will go up as an architect, then might be questions that, hey, we want to have it on a customized virtual network. What do you recommend? So yes, you can do that. And where you can do the settings, this is how you do the setting over here. Then there are address spaces, application subnet, all this can be customized and given to the customer. Okay, any question over here on the virtual network or existing virtual network space? Virtual network is also named as VNet, okay, in the Azure. So don't get confused in case I'm using VNet and then virtual network. So both are same. Okay, so last 4 minutes are left. So I'll just go on onto the little bit of the Power Platform. In case you you want to deploy the Power Platform as well, you can come here and say yes. And then it will ask you that whether you want to go with the standard or you want to go with the project operation. So based on what it is needed, generally, most of the companies go with the Dynamics 365 standard one, unless there is a project operation need for their environment. So go here, come here, and then you want to have a subscription based trial or you want to start with the sandbox. So the both are possible, and then create it. So from sandbox or from a subscription based trial, you can actually, if it is a subscription based trial, you can go for converting to the full licenses, or you can also have the sandbox created, deployed, and then later on, once you see that it is useful for our organization, you can go ahead and have a paid version of it. I think we are okay. So this database, the customization of the database is again important. People will ask that how to create a blank database. So at that time you say demo, but make sure that you don't have any data in it. So make sure that you are having a no option ticked. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Vinay, you have a question?
Anish, I just want to know, like I was deploying a new cloud hosted environment and I have disabled the Power Platform integration. Okay. Now, after some time, I want to enable it. So will it be possible, like once it is deployed and after that, will it be able to enable the Power Platform integration after deploy?
After deployment?
Yeah.
On the T1, I think it may give you some troubles, but T2, you can do that. On the sandbox, which is on the T2 level, yes, you can do that.
Okay.
T1, actually, I have not seen. I would say rather I have not experienced it till now, because most of the Power Platform work starts on the T2. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. No problem. Okay, so I think I'm pretty done. We can just have a quick round of question answer session here. Yeah, Soumya again.
Yeah, yes, Umesh. So when we are taking any subscriptions, so for the Power Platform and all this will be included at that. But while we are actually implementing this, is it compulsory that if it is a power automation or something that has to be enabled at the time of creating of this project, or it is like later anytime we can as we are already paying for the subscription, so we can get it used anytime in the future?
Yes, that is possible. You can get it used anytime in the future. Definitely, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, so one more tip, I think all the licenses can be seen here. If you go here, go to the Microsoft Enter ID. This is basically the Azure Active Directory. All the licenses which you have will sit here, and it will, you can so it, look at all the products. The last point, I think, missed it. So it will show you trial, which one you are having trial, and then when it is expiring, how much consumed, how much available, expiring soon, all those information will be done. Similarly, since we are looking for Power Platform, remember all the Power Platform admin center will sit here under the admin center of the admin.microsoft.com. This is only for the users, those who are having a administrator tenant ID. That means you may have a global administrator. So all the admin centers will sit here. So just want to make sure that you understand this is all admin centers, which I'm highlighting here. In case you want to do over a Power BI, you can click here. Teams, Viva, Exchange, compliance, all will sit here. Okay.
I think Mayur has a question.
Yeah,
Mayur,
Mayur,
please
go ahead.
unmute and
Go ahead. Mohammed is also having a question. In case you are
Hello,
muted.
Yes.
am I audible?
Yeah. So go one by one. Mayur first.
Yeah. Actually, my question is not from the present training. I have some out of context question related to D365 F&O. Actually, we want to have two different exchange rates for one currency. Is it possible to have two different exchange rates for two separate modules, like for AP module and general ledger module? Can we have two different exchange rates for one currency?
yeah,
Is there
I'll
any
take it up.
workaround?
Umesh, so this is basically you can set up types of exchange rates like average, default, and all. So you can set it up two different exchange rates. And based on the selection, when you are doing the entry, you have to select that particular exchange rate, then it will work for you.
So for one currency, it is possible to have two exchange rates, right? For two
Yes,
different
yes.
modules.
Yes, you can. It's not by default, but when doing a data entry, user has to select, then it will work accordingly.
So it cannot be mapped as a default. It needs to be selected
No.
at the time of a transaction.
Yes. And if you want it that way, you might need to customize a bit to do that part.
Okay. Okay. Maybe I'll get in touch with you for this later
No
on. No.
worries.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, Mohammed. Please feel free to unmute
Okay,
and ask my
okay,
question.
Umesh. So I have a question with you. First of all, for creation of implementation project, which lessons is required? Okay, and the second thing is for deploying of U8 and production environment, what are the minimum number of F&O licenses we required?
Okay, so bare minimum you require 20 seat licenses. Okay, 20 seat licenses are required. And once you purchase 20 licenses, a Microsoft representative will generally you can request these licenses to the partner, and the partner will get the request submitted to the Microsoft's SC team, software engineering team will actually invite your tenant administrator, and that tenant administrator will get the first hand request. Okay, so over here, if you see, go to the project users. So first time you will get an invite. Let me show you. Okay, so if you see here, the first in the last, if you see here, this one is the project owner. He got an acceptance first. Once he is done, then only he can invite rest of the people to get the as a project owner, project managers. These are different roles which based on that we can go. Generally, these roles are like business decision maker, implementation project managers, business experts, business users, developers, administrators. Again, partner roles are also different: functional consultant, developer, or solution architect. For your question, for the first time, the licenses has to be applied by the Microsoft SC.
Got it. Thank
Okay, I
you.
think Nazim has a question. Difference between T1 and T2 environment, which one is cloud hosted?
T1 is always cloud hosted, and T2 is always a Microsoft hosted. Okay, so one information which I wanted to showcase is about the asset library. In case you want to have your own virtual machine, you can come to the downloadable VST, and then over here, if you see this is blank. Now what you can do, you can say import and click on the import. You will get these 4 files. See, look at the part number, which part number you are in, and then pick it up. Once you pick up, it will generally, once you pick up, it will be resided in the here, and then keep on downloading one by one. And once it is downloaded, that's extracted, and then you are done for the day. So there are more setups required nowadays, but you will be able to do it. You will search, you will get it.
One more question from Nazim only. Process of data refresh from T2 production to T1 sandbox.
Okay, so generally the export import will work. There is I have my own Azure Talks by Umesh Pandit. Search it on the Google, you will get it. There is an data migration strategies discussed over there on the YouTube channel. It would be migrating your data from T1 to T2 or T2 to T1. Both are, I have explained you, like from higher to lower version, lower to higher environment, that both are possible. Okay, any more questions?
Umesh, so there is this challenge which we were facing recently. So they have done the upgrade for one of the dev machine, sorry, for the production. So whenever they're doing this upgrade, there are like standard roles. Whenever making changes to the standard roles, so assigning some new duties to that. Uh, After once it is upgraded, we don't find them. So for that, the workaround what I did is like have created some custom role and assigned those duties, and then it is working okay. But is there any alternate way or standard way where we are where I'm missing to make sure that whenever the next upgrades are done, this custom not custom, the standard standard roles when we are assigning some new values from the user interface, it should not go.
Yeah, so I think yes, definitely you have to create those custom roles within your within the development environment, and then migrate them as a package. Then only it will work. That's what I think. That's the best practice which you're following.
Okay. So and nothing to the standard roles will be doing any changes. I mean, apart from customizing, so we cannot add it through the UI and it will be saved for forever.
Yeah, my understanding is I'm not so much into development, but it should work as a standard development practice. It should work.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
one more question from Nazim again. What is the process of package deployment on version upgrade from anything like 32 to 36 or something like that?
Okay, so what you can do, you can since I have already covered that, what you can do, you can create two development boxes. Okay, so one this and the other one is this. Have one more branching. Get the branching done for one of the higher version, and then once you have it, then probably you should be able to do it. Okay, so should be fine
And
on a deployment side. Auto
yeah,
start of the development virtual machine is possible. What you can do, you can go to the
Umesh, you're not sharing your screen.
sorry, my bad. Okay, so I was just saying that when it comes to the deployment for the version, you can do like this. So you can have a lower build agent which is already deployed. Go ahead and create new more, and then you should be able to get the version upgrade over here. For the T1 boxes, you can do it manually. You can download the package and then migrate it, like you can deploy it manually. One is this. It might be a case that since the versions are very different, you may have SQL. Just wanted to share one more. So you may have SQL 2019 here. And while you upgrade it on the 32 or 36, maybe you're going for the higher version, and you may see SQL 2022 or Visual Studio 2022. That time it will give you the error because my indexes might change, the correlation might change. So what is the best option to upgrade the deployment? Delete this and then create a new box out of it. Okay, just a recommendation on this side. Okay, for the automatic start and stop, what you can do, yes, that is supported. You can come here and you can apply auto shutdown here. I think I have already applied it, but just to be sure that just be sure that I have done it or not. Yeah, so this is I have done it and enabled it. So at the 7 p.m. UTC time, I will get a alert that it has been shut down. Okay, now in case you want to start it, that could be a challenging one. What you can do, you can go to the task. This is again a this is basically it will create a automation task. What you can do, you can come here, get added. Okay, and it will tell you that which one you want to do. You want to start a VM machine, deallocate, power off virtual machine, send a monthly cost. So just select on the start virtual machine. So that way you don't have to actually keep uh, starting the virtual machine every day. You can have its own uh, start stop time. The only problem here is it will start on Saturday, Sunday as well. Okay, so to mitigate that, what you can do, there is a webhook. There is one more, I think it is webbook. Yeah, Azure Webbook workbooks. Okay, so with the help of this workbooks, web or an automation account, sorry, AUT automation account. Yeah, you can create a automation account over here, create automation account, and then later on try to get your webhook created. That webhook will be a PowerShell script. Okay, that PowerShell script, share it with the user. Those if you don't want to share LCS to your developer, or you don't want to share the LCS access or the Azure access, what you can do, that's the secondary, that's the standard way. You create a PowerShell script, give it to the developer. Whenever he wants to use the machine, he will just run it and the VM will be started automatically, and then he can work it. Auto shutdown will automatically happen. So this way you will save a lot of cost, because a developer may not work 8 hours a day. He may work 1 hour or 2 hours, maybe 3 hours or 4 hours. Who knows? So best way is to give them a webhook created, and then he will whenever he need, 5-10 minutes before he will create it. He will just start it with the help of the PowerShell. Once automation account is created, he just need to, from his local laptop, just need to open the PowerShell and then create it. That's it. Okay, any more question?
Yeah, I think one from, please try to create a new environment SCM trial on my developer account, but it was not working.
Yeah, so it won't work because you need to get a um, uh, uh, developer account. I'm not sure which developer account. Normally you will have a personal Outlook account or an Office 365 mail ID. So you should have a proper legitimated Office 365 ID. Then only you will be able to do it.
Can we upgrade DevBox from 10.0.33 to 35 without going to a new VM with the 35?
I would say I've not tried it, but there are scripts which you can follow one by one, and it will be upgraded. If there is a major changes on the SQL side, then no, you should not be able to do it. You need to delete it, recreate it again.
Okay,
That's the
I
recommendation.
think I can see we have already passed 12 minutes in our session. Quickly take one or two questions if anybody has. Otherwise,
Yeah.
we'll wrap it up. I think the same person has asked, please, how can I get the account?
I would say if you are in customer company, just try to do with that. In case you are a partner company, try to do with that. You will get it. In case you are neither, you want to have your SCM box yourself. What you can do, you can go to Microsoft Learn, and then even you can search it on my Azure Talks channel. From there you will get it. What you can do, you can go to the microsoftlearn.com and you will get the VM every day 2 hours free. So you can use that as well for a demo purposes, or maybe you want to look for an practice purposes, that can be used.
Thank you, Mayur. Please follow us on the social media. I've already shared it over the chat. So you will get the notifications. You can join us on the WhatsApp groups and all our channels. And we will do so much sessions. And I really appreciate Umesh for taking time over the weekend and doing it for our session. Whenever we need anything from help from Umesh, he's always there for us. And I really thank Umesh for this. And thank everyone for taking time over the weekend and joining us. I really appreciate. We're looking forward for the other sessions. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's all for today. Thanks, Umesh.
Thank you. The pleasure on me. Thank you, guys. That's your participation. Your thank you all. Actually, the words motivate us to give back to the community what we have learned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, May.
Thank you.
Thank you, Umesh, for the wonderful session.
Thank you.